The useTransition hook is used in React to let you update the state without blocking the UI. And in this video, I'll teach you everything that you need to know about the useTransition hook so that you can use it in your React applications to optimize your UIs. So here I have a very simple example. All we have is this button, and this particular button generates a random array, and also we are keeping a count of how many times we click this particular button. So when we click it, this function is the one that will be called right here, and the first thing that it's doing is to update the count to increment by 1, and the other thing that it will do is that it will generate this particular array, and it's a very big array of 10,000 items, meaning that it can be slow, especially in lower level devices. And that is why also in my console at performance, I have also made my CPU to be 4 times slower so that we can easily illustrate what is happening here. And then finally, after we generate this big array, we show it on the screen by updating the state here, and then we'll show it on the screen. So let's see what is happening. I click this button and look, it is frozen, kind of frozen. But what is happening is that it is taking time to update this count, and also it is taking time to generate that big array right here. And it is so slow considering I have also make this to be even slower. And that is why our count is lagging behind, and also our state update right here is also lagging behind. It is taking time to update. So whenever I click, the count does not update immediately, but it updates together with this particular state right here. So how React is doing is that it is waiting. So whenever we update this state, React will wait for all the other states to also be updated, and then after all the state is ready, that is when our UI will show. So basically, we should be seeing this count being updated immediately because the state was updated first. But we have this code that is blocking the UI, and until this other state right here is ready, that is when both of the UIs are updated. So when I click, look, both are behind. So we can make use of the useTransition hook to prevent this particular state from blocking this one right here for the counter. For the counter, it should be fast because we don't have any heavy computation for the counter. The heavy computation is for this particular random array. So all we need to do is to import the useTransition hook from React. So here I'll say use a transition, and then we should invoke it at the top level, just like the useState hook. So here I can say const. Here we will destructure something from this useTransition hook. So I say useTransition here and I invoke it. We destructure exactly two things. One is pending, and the other one is start transition function. And then this start transition is the one that will help us to prevent this code right here from blocking this state update. We will come right here and we'll say start transition, and we just call this. We pass an arrow function in here, and we pass the curly brackets, and what we will do, we will take this code, I'll cut that, and I'll pass it to be inside the start transition function. And this start transition function is coming from our useTransition hook. So whenever now I save and let's test it out, I click this and look, our count immediately updated, even though this other state right here, this random array state, is not ready. So this count is now updating immediately, meaning that this state is not blocking this state. Okay, so I click, look, our count updates first, then this follows. And this is the work of the useTransition hook to prevent some state update from blocking the UI for other states. Okay, and the good thing is that it also have this particular is pending state, and what that will help us is to check if we are still updating this state right here. And if we are doing that, we can show a loading state right here. So I'll say if it's pending, then we'll show this leave that the state is still loading. So let me refresh and you'll see that in action. I click loading, this has updated, and that means that we have something that is pending right here, and once it's ready, loading will not show, but it will show our updated state. I click on this, you see we have that loading right there. Now one thing that you should know is that you should not pass a synchronous function inside the start transition function, otherwise it will not work as expected. Okay, another thing is that you should not pass a set timeout in here. Okay, and we can verify that from the official React documentation. So one thing that you see is that you should not call set timeout inside a start transition. Instead, you should do the other way around. You pass start transition inside the set timeout. Also, you should not pass a synchronous function inside the start transition. Instead, you pass start transition inside a synchronous function. Okay, so you should note that. Another thing, you should not make use of start transition when you want to update the state of a controlled input. Okay, so that will not work well. And if you need another example, we also have another example in the official React documentation here of this particular hook. So let me show you. So here we have this particular application, and what it does is that we make use of start transition for updating the state for the different tabs. And you can see the code right here. This is start transition, and we have set tab right here. And what it is trying to do is to optimize switching between the tabs, because this posts right here is a slow component. It has some logic that makes it slow, and then this is fast, this is fast. But if we don't make use of this start transition, this post will block the update of the other if we try to switch very fast between them. So if I come at the top, this is when we are making use of the transition. This is when we are not making use of the transition. And if we are not making use of the transition, I click on post. Look, it takes time to show. Contact doesn't take time to show. But when I click on post, then contact very fast, you'll notice that contact took some few seconds to update because it was waiting for post to complete a state update so that it actually shows. Okay, let's do that again. Post contact. Look, it took some few seconds to show. Then if we use transition, you'll see that now it's optimized right here. Let's click post contact. Contact is showing immediately. This post does not block contact UI. So you can take a look at this other example here to learn more about the use transition hook. So that is all about this particular hook, and I hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, leave a thumbs up, and yeah, that is it.